Hey everybody, it's Michelle and this is Queer Hustle where we talk to queer entrepreneurs. And today I'm really excited because we have Libby Sinback and she is a polyamorous relationship transformation coach. Libby, do you want to introduce yourself to the crew?
Hi, y'all. My name's Libby. I am, as Michelle said, a relationship transformation coach. I'm also queer and polyamorous, and I'm a mom of two little boys. And I host a podcast also called Making Polyamory Work.
Very excited to have you here. I know we have lots and lots of queer entrepreneurs and aspiring queer entrepreneurs that really are dying to get into the podcast world, the YouTube world, and all of that. So are going to be very, very excited to hear from you. But you didn't just start out as a podcaster. You started out as a relationship coach and as a polyamorous relationship coach at that. What made you interested in getting into that work in the first place?
I just saw a need for it. So I live in Washington, D.C. area, the same as you, Michelle, and I am part of a polyamorous community. I have a lot of polyamorous friends, and a thing that I was noticing for myself and for my partners and other folks was that when we were going to try to seek some kind of support in our relationships, whether it's like mental health support, which you'd go to see a therapist, or whether it's just like relationship support, that there was a limited pool of people that we could turn to. Because if we would turn to like maybe a standard life coach or a standard therapist or something like that, they might not understand where we're coming from, because when you're polyamorous, you're like, and when you're queer and polyamorous and, raising a family that way and so many different things, there's so much in that. And if you're seeing a professional that doesn't get that, you end up having to do a lot of education with them and might even be told that your relationship style is part of the problem that you're having in your relationships. So I just was seeing a need for more of that, basically. And I had been just on my own hosting discussion groups, like support groups, basically, out of my house at first, because I was new to the polyamory community, and I was also a mom of two very, very young kids. Like one of them was a baby at the time, and I just started wanting to meet other people and just talking about, oh, what is it like doing this? What is it like being here? What is it like being a parent doing this? And through that, I just got really good at facilitating groups, and I got really good at holding space for people. And I just saw more and more, like, again, this need, and I started developing the skills to give it. And then I was just like, no, this is what I really want to do all the time. And I just really loved it. I love the community. I love the people, and I get it so well. And I was also seeing in the discourse of the polyamory discussion of like how to do it well, there were some things sort of missing in like the broader community discussions about it that I felt I wanted to put into the mix. And so I felt like these two ways of seeing relationship work were kind of very not meeting where they needed to, because I think you do need to like know some of the things that you get out of traditional couples therapy, but you need also the polyamory part. And also you don't really need, for relationship help, you don't really need the therapy part so much, I don't think, because you're not dealing with mental illness. You're usually just dealing with behavioral strategies. And so, I was like, I think coaching's a really good fit for that, because then I don't have to like, get caught up in like the pathologizing, that stuff that therapists do, and the diagnosing, and I don't have to deal with the healthcare system. I can just focus on the relationship part and how that works. And so again, it just really fit all the things that I cared about, all of my interests. And I'd been wanting to shift careers. I used to do actually online communications for nonprofits. That was like my previous career for over a decade. And I just really wanted to switch to something that was more of a helping profession anyway. And this just, again, it was sort of this perfect fit of, this is what people need. This is what I love doing. I've got the skills for it. And it was just the perfect thing to be doing. So
Listen, a lot of people that are watching this or listening to this question comes up over and over, like, why do we do a show about queer entrepreneurs? Like, what does being queer have anything to do with business? Especially when I'm talking to other folks that are bi pansexual. Sometimes we get typed and say, well, you're not even really queer, like you're married to a person who presents as a guy, like you present as a woman, like are you even queer, and what does this have to do with anything, and why are you two talking about this? What would you say? What would you say to that?
in some ways, business is just business, sure. There's nothing special about being queer when you're in business. But then also that's not true. Also, I think, and this is just my take, so this might not be what you're looking for, but I think that when you're queer or trans or pansexual or even polyamorous, although I recognize that queer folks are not necessarily welcoming of heterosexual, cisgender, polyamorous people into their tribe, and I get that, and I totally get why. But I would say, again, if I was gonna say, if you're a sexual minority in some kind of way, or a relational minority in some kind of way, you've had to do so much work just to exist. You've had to do so much work just to be okay with who you are in the face of like so much culture telling you that you don't count. And and again, for me, when I think about people that I want to work with and who I want help from, I want people who understand what I deal with, not just in my life but also in my head.
Absolutely. And then there's something about you turning around and doing that for other people, because there's, to your point at the beginning of this conversation, there are people that need relationship help and relationship coaching and can't find anybody that looks like them or understands them or
Exactly.
identifies with what they're going through. So then you can say, well, I needed that, so I can turn around and be that for somebody else. And that's really the name of the game here. What we're all doing, we're building community, and we're kind of, in some ways, building our own structures and building our own systems,
Right,
outside of the
exactly.
structures and systems that weren't really working for us or weren't really designed with us in mind.
Exactly. 100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Libby Sinback, host of Making Polyamory Work. You guys should all check it out. It's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, and
Well,
we will see you all next time. Bye.
yeah.